And now the Democrats are pissed that Donald Trump wants to buy Greenland. Why? We bought a lot of land. Alaska, Florida, the Louisiana Purchase. I hope he does buy Greenland, and he calls it the Green New Deal.
From Hollywood. Welcome to the Rat's Ass Podcast with Mojo Elliott.
And heidi-ho, and away we go. Damn, do we have some stuff to rap about today. I mean, some real serious over-the-top stuff, too.
Who gives a rat's ass?
From the Mojo studio on Sunset and Vine, overlooking a sea of crazies. Here comes another action-packed adventure with your name on it.
Let's do it.
Here's what's on tap on the rap. Holding on to an ideology is very bad for your health. It's been a glorious week in D.C. Hang on to find out why. And guess who's been labeled as a dingleberry? And it's sticking. What is the one thing Californians should never do? Stand by and I'll fill you in. And I have a new best friend to tell you about. Another round of Fed trauma's on the way. Who's up for another round to pick your news? Plus, our usual lunacy and loose behavior, including Mojo's fucking funny, and a damn good rock tale from TDK. That's what's happening on the Rat's Ass Podcast for Thursday, January 22nd. I do thank you so much for being here. You know, I found this really good cinnamon tea I've been slamming all week. Oh, it is so delightful. I think that's the term, right? Delightful when you talk about tea. And I think as long as I still like women, I can use the word like delightful, can't I? Today is the last day to get your votes in for Radio Wars this week on the blog. Now, I've posted 2 hours of rock. Hour A, Hour B. One is mine, the other is WDRV in Chicago. I want you to check it out and email Fleabag at ratsasspodcast@gmail.com and tell us which hour you think is the best. We will post the winner on Friday, tomorrow, TGIF, and start a new round on Monday. So far, I am unbeaten at 3-0, much to my surprise, much to my chagrin. All right, let's get into the rap. Before I get rolling here, I do want to congratulate our slumlord governor of California, Gavin Newsom, for being honored on the Rat's Ass Podcast Walk of Shame on our blog. Newsom flew to Davos, Switzerland this week for the sole purpose of undermining the President of the United States. Can you imagine? What a heaping pile of monkey shit this guy is. You know, Newsom joins Oran Mamdani, Tim Walz, the Baltimore Ravens on the Walk of Shame so far this year, and I'm sure it won't be his last time either. Now, as you all know, I'm very interested in politics. But I don't let them define who I am. You know, I talk about it here on the podcast, but outside of that, I really don't give a rat's ass beyond curiosity. Why? Because I know no matter what I say or do, nothing is going to change. So I listen and observe. I gather my opinion. I share it with you. And then I cut it the hell loose and go have fun. I'm young at heart for a reason, because I don't let stuff that I can't control bother me. Hell, I still listen to loud rock music in the car like a teenager. You know, I look at a guy like Sammy Hagar, who's 78, and he's still out there rocking and bottom knocking, having a good time, and I don't think it's the rum and tequila. I think it's the rock and roll. Fountain of youth, baby. Fountain of youth. But there are some people who eat, drink, and sleep politics, whether they're a politician or a protester. They're all caught up in their own bullpucky called ideology. Now, George Carlin was a comedian who died back in 2008, and I loved George. He always had a keen eye for BS, and he called people out on it. He had this observation about ideology that always resonated with me, and let's see if it does with you.
When your identity is your ideology, congratulations, you've officially screwed yourself, because now it's not just an idea, now it's you. And when the idea gets challenged, you don't hear disagreement, you hear an attack. So what do? You build a bubble. A nice, soft, padded little bubble where everyone agrees with you, uses the same words, hates the same people, and claps at the exact right moments. And you will defend that bubble at all costs, even if it makes you sound incredibly stupid. Facts don't matter anymore. Logic's gone. Humor? Dead. Because admitting you're wrong would mean admitting you are wrong, and that's unacceptable. So you double down, louder, angrier, dumber. And that's how you end up defending nonsense like it's sacred scripture, not because it's true, but because without it, you'd have to actually develop a personality.
Yeah, so you see, you can get lost in this nonsense and become a real miserable person from it. Now, that doesn't mean you can't discuss it, but man, let it go. Go enjoy your life. You only get one. I mean, I look at these useful idiots protesting on the side of the road with their little signs, and I ran into one here in Southern California the other day, and I've got news for you. A sign that says, "Fuck Trump," isn't going to change anyone's mind. I've developed my belief system over a lifetime. and they think I'm going to stop at a red light, read a sign that says fuck Trump, and go, oh, gee, I guess I better fuck Trump then. Go vote for a Democrat next election. I mean, do yourself a favor. Go make a pot of stew. Watch reruns of Golden Girl. Have sex with someone or by yourself. You're not making any difference. You're wasting the one life you've been given. I mean, have you ever walked through a graveyard, looked at grave markers, and said, gee, I should have protested more? Have you seen one of those? So don't be a dumbass. Go enjoy your family and friends, or you might accidentally end up like Renee Good. Just trust me, nobody gives a rat's ass. Hey, have you heard the news? VP J.D. Vance and his wife Usha are going to have their 4th child in July. It's going to be a boy, and I've already started the office pool here. The idea is to tell me if I'm right or wrong. I think they're going to name him Charlie after Charlie Kirk. So everyone has to guess if I'm right or wrong, along with his birth weight, to win a Mojo Elliott prize pack that includes one of my leather loincloths. Autographed. That's how I treat my staff. Nothing but the best. I'm also changing the phrasing I used to simulate the act of sex from "Who's your daddy?" to "Usha daddy." Effective immediately, it's going to be "Usha daddy, Usha daddy." Don Lemon, the ex-CNN anchor, that was part of the group that rushed this church in St. Paul last Sunday, was called a dingleberry by actor James Woods during his appearance on Megyn Kelly's show. Now, between James' followers on X and Megyn Kelly's followers across all of her platforms, I'd say they're tapping into about 13 million people. I'm sure that there is some crossover here and there, but the bottom line is Don Lemon has been labeled as a dingleberry by Woods, and it's sticking to Don. He will not be able to show his face on TV, social media, or make a post without being referred to as a dingleberry. Good old dingleberry Don. You know, I always called Don an inflamed word on the ass of America, but being compared to a piece of shit stuck to hanging butt hair is much more fitting for Don Lemon, don't you think? Oh, God. And I'm also sure that the white people calling Don a dingleberry will be called racists. But here's the thing.
Who gives a rat's ass?
There is one thing California should never do. Do you know what it is? When the East Coast and the Midwest is getting hammered with snow and freezing temperatures, we should never brag about our weather. It's demoralizing and give us a bad reputation. It's already bad enough. We shouldn't add to it. So you never want to say something like, gee, look at the 10-day forecast. It's something like sunshine with temps in the mid-60s to lower 70s. You never want to say that. Or you never want to say, God, it's so nice outside, I think I'll go wash my car. Maybe go for a walk after. I could even take a swim. Those things have to be completely off the table. You got to have some class. So when you're on social media, my fellow Californians, don't talk about our temperatures being in the mid-60s to low 70s and blazing sunshine. When the weather's so severe back east and in the Midwest too, we have to be better than that. Nobody wants to hear, it is sunny and 67 today in California.
I wish you could just shut your big yapper.
All right, let me talk about this. I have a new best buddy called ChatGPT. Chat saved me a tidy sum of cash this week, and it might save you some too and improve your life just a little bit. Chat also nursed me through COVID last year. It's been really good about helping me research a lot of stuff, including stocks. It's been very helpful overall. Now, one of my automobiles is an older Camaro. It has developed a rattle in the sunroof. When I crank up the rock and roll, it rattles. And it was driving me absolutely nuts. That's what drives me crazy, that kind of stuff. So I went to the mechanic and asked what they could do to solve the problem. To make a long story short, the solution was probably going to cost me about $1,000. And I rejected that on principle. $1,000 to solve a rattle issue? Really? Now, a couple of years ago, the same mechanic wanted to charge me $450 to change the turn signal light bulb. And I've got 4 of them, but one was burned out. $450 for that. And that was my first introduction to ChatGPT. The bottom line is, Chat told me how to fix the light bulb myself. It took me less than 5 minutes and cost me $4.58, including tax. He wanted to charge me $450 to do that. So I decided to ask Chat about this problem. And it said to take a microfiber towel, spray some silicone on it, and lightly rub it around the seal of the sunroof. So I did. And guess what? The rattle is gone. Total cost, $0. Because I already had a can of silicone spray in my garage. And you're right, yes, I do feel like driving over to the mechanic's garage and shoving that can of silicone up his fat and hairy baboon-sized ass. Yes, I do. Now, I don't know about you, but after all of that, I could use a good rocktail right now. Can't you? Let's tap in with TDK and see what he's got for us today with the rocktail.
When a rock star heard a Police song, he had no idea that one day it would inspire one of his biggest hits. Almost a decade after hearing Every Breath You Take for the first time, the singer of a successful band was working on his album, and his bandmates had just come up with some really cool and slightly creepy music that needed lyrics and melodies. When the lead singer heard his bandmates' instrumental, he was immediately taken back to the 80s, and something about the new song reminded him of Every Breath You Take. And he remembered how much he loved the story of that song and how you didn't know if it was about unrequited love or a stalker. So he decided to do his own version of the story, but this time flip around the point of view of the person that was the subject of the obsession. And then he remembered an old saying from the South where he grew up, which meant to be frustrated with a situation or a person. The phrase was, losing my religion.
Yeah, REM had a bunch of cool tunes. Alternative rock tunes. I mean, I loved What's That Frequency, Kenneth. I still have no idea who Kenneth is or what the frequency was, but it was a pretty good melody.
Trust me, if you met him, you'd want to hit him.
What?
Here's Mojo Elliott with his spin on sports on the wrap.
I haven't had a chance to congratulate the Indiana Hoosiers on winning the national championship yet, so let me do that right now. And I'm so glad I went out of my way on the limb to pick them to win last podcast. Only the second school in NCAA history to go 16-0. Fantastic. I wrote a background piece on Indiana head coach Curt Cignetti, by the way, on our Facebook page. I think you'll find it interesting. He's been linked to some of the greatest football coaching legends in college football of all time. This weekend, the NFC-AFC Conference Championships take place to determine who's going to play in Super Bowl 60 on February 8th. It'll be the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos with backup quarterback Jarrett Stidham. Now, I know Bronco fans are hanging on the thought of a miracle, but there will be no miracle at Mile High. New England's going to win this game. They're too damn good to let a backup quarterback beat them, even on the turf in Denver. In the NFC, between the Rams and Seahawks, as much as I want to see the Rams win it all, that 12th man in Seattle, oh, it's a beast, and it's going to be rocking. I've been to one game in Seattle, and oh my God, it's deafening. So I really don't see a path where the Rams win this game. So I'm going with Seattle to play New England in Super Bowl 60, running back Super Bowl that was played in 2015. Remember that one? New England rallied to win 28-24. That makes me 9-1 picking NFL games so far this playoff season. I'm feeling pretty damn good about going 11-1. All right, checking the chat box at ratsasspodcast.com. Matty D. Mesquite, Nevada, said, now that Fernando Mendoza has won the Natty, God, it's a national championship. Why do we have to call it a natty? Why does everything need an acronym? He said, should the Raiders take him with the first pick in the draft or trade the pick? Well, I think they got to go with him. I think they got to go with Mendoza. I mean, with the money they'll save on a rookie quarterback, they can surround him with a decent offensive line. They need a number 1 and number 2 wide receiver, and they need depth in the backfield. This gives them that opportunity to do it. I know there's some rumblings about Lamar Jackson in a trade, but they would have to spend so much money on Jackson, they wouldn't have money left over to surround him. And believe me, if you don't have an offensive line, you've got nothing. Ask Joe Burrow about that. Bronson B., Lancaster, California. How do you feel about LeBron James not being named a starter for the NBA All-Star Game? I think it's blasphemy. LeBron should be starting. I mean, he's still, at 41, one of the best players in the game. He's the GOAT. I mean, if this is his last season, I hope he at least gets named to the team so they can pay tribute to him. All right? And that's my spin on sports today on The Wrap.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head trauma.
All right, today we're going to play Pick Your News. I'll give you 4 headlines, and you have to tell me which one is true. So listen close, because I'm only going to read them once. Headline 1, President Trump makes a significant offer to buy Greenland and Canada, personally. Headline 2, Vice President J.D. Vance has come under fire for knocking his wife Usha up and slacking off on the American people. Headline 3, a New York social worker claims the reality mayor Mamdami's homeless outreach plan is guaranteed to fail, and RFK Jr. is headline 4. He's the head of Make America Healthy Again. He is pushing for an anal suppository that will help you skip meals altogether. All right, kick it around. Have a good time with it. I'll have the answer for you coming up.
It's time for some loose behavior on the Rat's Ass Podcast.
It is time to laugh. Or maybe groan a little. Here is Mojo's Fucking Funny with Ricky Gervais.
Because it's not all doom and gloom getting older. There's good and bad to getting old. There really is. There's good and bad to getting old. For example, yes, there's more chance now of me having a heart attack, having a stroke, getting cancer, but much less chance now of me ever being raped in prison. Yeah. So when I was a young man, I thought, fuck, I could never go to jail. Not with this cute ass, right? But now, I'd be pretty confident I'd be left alone. You know, like, I'd go down the corridor, my first day, with a little towel, just whistle along, right? They'd all come to the bars and go, ooh. You know what I mean? Like, I'd spend as much time as I wanted in the shower. No one's even looking, not a sniff, nothing. The big danger for me these days, bending over in a prison shower, would be my back going, right? And just sort of crumple into the floor and have to be helped to my bunk by two big gay rapists. And they just put me down naked and leave. And I go, lads, before you go, I've done my shouldering. Can you little tug? Right? And they go, nah. I go, what do you mean, no? You're literally gay rapists. They go, we're not monsters.
Hey, heads up. Here comes your celebrity cheese.
All right, the nominations for the Oscars were announced this morning. The movie Sinners led the pack with 16 nominations, making it the most nominated movie in Oscar history. The 98th Academy Awards will take place on March 15th. Does that date sound familiar to you? It should. It is the Ides of March.
Well, isn't that special?
You know, the only award show I really care about is the Razzies. They give out the awards to the worst movies. This year's nominees are Snow White, War of the Worlds, Hurry Up Tomorrow, Star Trek Section 31, and The Electric State. All movies I've never seen and never will, and you probably shouldn't either. I've never really understood this fascination over David and Victoria Beckham. A soccer player and an ex-Spice Girl? Really? Everybody's infatuated with them? But now that their son Brooklyn, yes, their son Brooklyn, a chick's name, married to Nicola, a dude's name, I get it. I found out the Peltz family's worth an estimated $1.6 billion, and the Beckhams have an estimated $673 million. So where there's money, there's always fascination. Hey, do you want to hear the latest about Blake Lively, Taylor Swift, and Justin Baldoni? Yeah, I didn't think so. Fans of Sex and the City will be devastated to hear that Chris Noth, who played Big, and Sarah Jessica Parker are no longer friends because of how she responded to the multiple sexual assault allegations levied against him back in 2021. And I'm saying, Chris, you got to lighten up, man. She was going COVID crazy. We all were. Should give her a call. Let bygones be bygones. Life's short. All right, the letter-turning goddess from the Wheel of Fortune, Vanna White, got married to her longtime partner, John Donaldson, in a private ceremony last weekend. Yeah. They've been together for 13 years and finally decided to tie the knot. But here's what I want you to think about. Close your eyes and remember that right now they are on their honeymoon. And John is probably spending her letters.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
And that is a spicy slice of celebrity cheese for you.
Who gives a rat's ass?
Rat's Ass Podcast. Email from our Gmail.
All right, this is where anything goes when you send your questions, comments, and observations to my producer, Fleabag, at ratsasspodcast@gmail.com. All right, Tina H. in Columbus, Ohio, said, I want to know how your wife has put up with you and your behavior for 40 years. I wouldn't have put up with you for a year, let alone 40. Well, not only does she put up with my behavior, Tina, okay, she encourages it. She loves my lunacy and loose behavior. In fact, listen to this.
Get the fuck out!
Who do you think suggested that? So there. All right, Harry S. Stevens. Harry S. from Stevens Point, Wisconsin. Sorry about that, Harry. Says, you won't have the balls to air this, but I'm sending it anyway. Your position on ice sucks. You take what you hear from the right-wing news as the gospel and ignore the truth. ICE isn't going after the bad illegal immigrants like Trump promised. They're taking illegals who have been here and contributing for years. It's not right, and you're wrong. Well, first of all, Harry, I have 3 balls to answer with. Second, you need to go learn the difference between legal and illegal immigration. Illegal is illegal. I don't care if they arrived here in 1975. They've had more than enough time to apply for citizenship, which to me, in my opinion, makes them maybe a little bit worse because it's all illegal behavior. All right, Boomer K., Madison, Mississippi, said 2 years ago, nobody was concerned about this Muslim uprising you're concerned about. Why now? What's changed? Laron Mom Dumbass happened in New York. That's what happened. All this with his rhetoric, being a Muslim, reading, getting sworn in the Quran, all of this stuff is a signal. You got to pay attention to it. I mean, when you see what's happened in London under the leadership of Sadiq Khan, I think it is. He's the mayor there in London. And even in Dearborn, Michigan. If you don't get a handle on this problem now, it's going to be harder to combat in the future. Muslims and Christians have been doing battle, have been at odds since the 7th century. It's dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria. It doesn't work. Candace B. in Fairbanks, Alaska. I see all the stuff President Trump is doing and wonder what's going to happen when he leaves office. Won't the Democrats destroy everything he's doing? Yeah, you bet your sweet ass they will. This is why we can never allow Democrats to hold the power of presidency, the House, and the Senate again. Just like Joe Biden did, they'll dismantle everything that Trump is doing. Chuck Schumer's already said that when they regain power, they're going to start spending more money on the USAID again. In other words, ripping off the American taxpayers. You know, when they tell you and show you who they are, you got to believe them. The right thing to do when anybody gets elected is to see what's working and what's not and focus on what's not. But these damn Democrats wreck everything because of what? Ideology. Bert C., Moorhead, Minnesota. What are your thoughts about ex-sports personality Michelle Tafoya running for the Senate? Well, you know what? Michelle's a conservative, and I say go, Michelle, go. I saw her campaign ad, and I think it's, I think she's serious about what she wants to do for Minnesota. You know, outside of being a lover of that vile weed broccoli, I think Michelle's great. Luke L., Burbank, California, said, I really enjoyed your article on the big goodbye. I feel the same as you, but I tell my family what I want as my final wishes, and they give me the douchebag speech. Well, Luke, your final wishes are your final wishes. They're yours and yours alone. They should be respected and carried out. But in the end, we never really know if our final wishes will be granted. You know, my wife could take my ashes down to Zuma Beach and chuck them in the ocean, or put them in the dumpster at Costco, as opposed to placing them where I hope she would. Now, this is where faith and trust comes into play. You just got to believe. That's what you got to do.
Hey, Mojo, it's God.
Oh, Jesus. Why do you sneak up on me that way? Okay, why are you blessing me with your presence today, my master of disaster?
What do you mean, master of disaster?
Well, look at how planet Earth is going. I mean, it's going to hell. Is this what you wanted?
I suggest that you read the book of Revelations, my son.
Sure, I'll get right back on that for you.
Well, tell me now, Mojo. I asked you to create an 11th commandment for me. How far have you gotten?
Well, I haven't given it any more thought, to be honest with you.
Then I'm going to have to give you a drop-dead date. I want it by June 6th at 6 p.m. You hear me? June 6th at 6 p.m.
June 6th at 6 p.m. Oh, that's cute. 666. God? God? God. This is what he does. He drops in unannounced, makes a demand, and leaves without saying thank you. Nobody says thank you anymore, including God. Have you noticed this? We get the, I appreciate you. Just say thanks. Just say thanks, please. Please.
Rat's Ass Podcast. Head trauma.
All right, the name of the game is Pick Your News. I gave you 4 headlines, and you have to tell me which one is true. Let's review, shall we? President Trump makes a significant offer to buy Greenland and Canada personally. Vice President J.D. Vance has come under fire for knocking up his wife Usha and slacking off on the American people. Headline 3, a New York social worker claims reality Mayor Mamdani's homeless outreach plan is a guaranteed fail. And RFK Jr., the head of Make America Healthy Again, is pushing for an anal suppository that will allow you to skip meals altogether. All right, did you figure it out? If you guessed, Mamdani's homeless outreach is a guaranteed fail.
Yeah, baby.
Congratulations. You are correct, the mundo. But if you missed it, go see a doctor about your head trauma and get well soon. All right, you guys can color me gone. I'm teaching class today on how to use a stick shift, and it has nothing to do with a car. But first, is this real or is it riffraff? Did you know the human brain isn't fully functional for learning until 10 a.m. in the morning? Science has proven schools start way too early. Alexa, is this real or is it riffraff?
This is absolutely 100% real.
Okay, so all this reading I do for the podcast before 10 a.m. is pointless.
That's right. In theory, you should prepare after 10 a.m. and perform the podcast later.
Well, that's not going to happen. I'm up at 4 a.m. ready for Freddie.
Who's Freddie, and is he going to replace me?
Well, you know what? Maybe. So you better start treating me a little bit nicer, Alexa.
And why would I do that, numbnuts?
Now, you know what? You're right. I'd miss the spice and doing this.
Get the fuck out!
All right, welcome to Rat Nation. Linda Hayes of Brooklyn, New York. Brock Stewart, Shaker Heights, Ohio. Kelly DeLong, Provo, Utah. Hector Diaz in Galveston, Texas. Reed Garrison in San Pedro, California. And also to people listening around the world in Lodz, Poland, Edmonton, Canada, Klepp, Norway, Didsbury in the UK, and Cloney, Ireland.
Now's your chance to be one of the few and the loud. Join Rat Nation at ratsaspodcast.com. Membership does have its rewards, you know.
And that wraps up this episode of the Rat's Ass Podcast. Make sure you go to ratsaspodcast.com to get the entire experience. Listen to previous episodes. Read the blog that's loaded with hot topicality. Catch Rat's Ass Rock TV where it's January. Join the mischief at Rat Nation and connect with us on the socials. We'll do this again on Monday, January 26th. Do take care of each other, and thank you so much for stopping by the Rat's Ass Podcast in association with the Oz Podcast Group.
The conversation continues between podcasts on X and ratsaspodcast.com. ratsaspodcast.com.
Get the fuck out!